Mic check 1 2. Hopefully, I could be heard loud and clear now. Sorry about that, family. Yes, you should be able to hear me in a few seconds. Just give me a 1 when you're able to hear me. Give me a 1 when you're able to hear me, please. Just give me a 1 in the room when you're able to hear me, loud and clear. Give me a 1 when you're able to hear me, please. Everyone, just give me a 1 when you're able to hear me. Just give me a 1 when you're able to hear me. Give me a 1 when you're able to hear me. Give me a 1 when you're able to hear me in the room, please. Everyone, anyone. Just give me a 1 when you're able to hear me. Give me a 1 when you're able to hear me. Give me a 1 if you're able to hear me. Let me check them. Oh, there you go. All right. Yeah, shalom, family. Once again, my name is Uzi Alewi. I'm one of the teachers of Congregation d.c.b, located in Brooklyn, New York, 382 Hamilton Avenue, Brooklyn, New York. And I just came on. As you see, the title of this stream is Black Lives First. And that's something that I'm going to read a little bit later that my brother Chief Naftali Ben Don wrote that I thought was very powerful and insightful. So I entitled this stream Black Lives First, and you have to read it in order to understand what he's saying there. So as everyone knows, first and foremost, giving glory to the creator of the universe, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Without him, nothing is possible. Why am I coming to you on a Thursday evening? And the reason is that I felt very compelled to come on tonight because tonight was one of the first funeral services that were held for our brother who lost his life at the hand of the police, our brother George Floyd, unarmed black man who was doing nothing wrong, did nothing wrong, and unfortunately he lost his life senselessly to a police officer who decided to put his knee on his neck and snuff his life away from him, while 3 other officers aided and abetted him. And at this point, our brother funeral service was held today, one of his many funeral services that was held in Minneapolis. As you know, there's still many protests. There's still many people out there supporting the cause, and protests is necessary for people to begin to hear and to listen. As you can see, so many major corporations, Silicon Valley is beginning to speak and send out notes of apologies and all of these things. So I felt compelled to this evening to speak about the George Floyd situation, just and honoring and just thinking about how he senselessly lost his life. You know, we are, as black men, we are almost like an endangered species. We're the only group of people that our parents have to have the talk with us when we get a certain age, and we all know what that talk is about: how to act, how to conduct ourselves, how to comport ourselves when we come across police officers. We're the only people that are afraid anytime a police cruiser pulls up behind us, because we don't know whether or not they're going to pull us over or what's going to be the encounter. And if they do pull us over, what's going to be the encounter that we're going to end up having with that police officer or police officers. So this is just here. I started this stream just I just wanted to acknowledge George Floyd and acknowledge that he was a person that lived that had, from what I saw, a daughter, had people that loved him for all intent and purposes. Everyone that came in contact with him said he was a very nice person. And I just wanted to talk about, just the things that are tearing us down. And what are some of the solutions that we could have in order to show that we're not just dispensable, that us as black people are not just people that you could do away with and murder and get away with it. And we have to begin to get smart, because after the protests and after everybody goes back home and the protests slow down, what are we going to do as a people in order to be able to move forward, to be able to get our agenda passed? Because believe it or not, we control a lot, but we just don't know the control and the power that we have as a people. We sometimes undermine ourselves and we shortchange ourselves and not thinking that we have that power. Why do you think that every politician makes an effort to come and get the black vote? Because although they say we're 13% of the population, it seems like we're more than 13%. That's all they have counted. They count us as 13% of the population. So in our vote, there's power, and in our economics, there's power. So before I move on and speaking about what I want to speak about, and today being one of the first funeral services for George Floyd, and we honor him and we remember him on this day, I just want to read something that my brother Chief Naftali Ben Don wrote, and I think it's very powerful. He took his time out to write this, and I just want to share it with everyone if you didn't see it yet. So he has a patch that said Black Lives First, which hopefully we could make it to some bumper stickers and get them around, because I think it's very powerful. So it says here, this is from Naftali David. If you don't have him as a friend on Facebook, you could go see it. I believe we know him as Chief Naftali Ben Don. It says, Black Lives First. For 6 years, we have heard the mantra of Black Lives Matter in resistance to racism, police violence, and social injustice. As this may be a great slogan for other racial ethnic groups calling out the system of injustice, does it really speak to a platform for black people in this struggle? I am unapologetically black, and as a unapologetically black people, we place a high value on black life, black history, black love, black economics, black education, black solidarity, and every other aspect of black existence. We, black people, matter. We have always mattered, and we always will matter. Words have power in we. Our future generations must seek out an outcry of true black empowerment, not mere validation. This society has made it a crime for black people to put the needs of their people in the forefront. Visionaries like the Honorable Marcus Garvey and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad were viewed as demagogues because of their movement's emphasis on black socioeconomic independence. I am often reminded of the British abolitionist image of an enslaved African kneeling, shackled, hands outstretched, with the title, Am I Not a Man and a Brother? The common title of the image is The Supplicant Slave. This is a new day, and we should never petition anybody for our God-given and inalienable rights. As Malcolm X stated, we declare our right on this earth to be a man, to be a human being, to be respected as a human being, to be given the rights of a human being in this society, on this earth, and this day, which we intend to bring into existence by any means necessary. Again, This is a new day. Black people must begin to practice an unprecedented level of self-preservation. We have to prioritize us, our families, our communities, our businesses, etc. As we live in a society proven to be hostile against us and our socioeconomic progress, we need the protection of our families, police from our own community, access to health food, grassroots financial institutions, black politicians who work for their people and not outside interests, black doctors who focus on understanding blacks' physiology and black health issues and everything else a community needs to exist and thrive in this society. Our outlook as a community must change. Our survival will not come in form of inclusion, but in form of freedom and self-determination. There is nothing wrong with putting our needs as a people first. We cannot help anyone else until we are able to help ourselves. To all black people, put black lives first. Hashtag Black Lives First. So I thought this was a very powerful image. Also, very powerful statement. And the reason why I thought it was very powerful is because it tapped into quite a few things. And one of the main things that I think it tapped into that we have to be aware of is our socioeconomic power. The power that we have, the buying power that we have as a people. I think that after the protests and everything that we need to begin to really focus our attentions on economics, how to build our economics first and foremost, meaning don't buy everything that you see on Amazon. I know some of us have become very addicted to Amazon and wanting to buy everything that we see, but we have to begin to save our monies. We have to begin to put black businesses first. Now, we know that a lot of times certain businesses that we have to go for, mostly essentials, might not be owned by someone of your own kind. But after you have exhausted and made the research and looked and searched high and low, and then you must go to another establishment, by all means, we all have to survive, but we have to look into things a little bit deeper. We have to begin to study and look into how us as a community, us as a family, us as a people could grow. And the first way to grow is, first and foremost for us, is a spiritual base, right? We always put the Most High Creator first. But when we're talking about economics and we're talking about a community, then the way for us to survive is to begin to build our communities and put our monies right back into our communities. We have to have a strategy and a plan after all the protests are done, right? Protests are good because what the protests are doing right now is, and the protesters, is that they're bringing attention to this matter. When Colin Kaepernick took a knee, Agent Orange said, and I'm speaking, and y'all know who Agent Orange said we need to get rid of all those sons of bees that kneel down. Kick them out. But Colin Kaepernick knelt and put his job on the line and lost his job from the NFL for the exact thing that we're protesting today. So I would say that if we had listened to Mr. Kaepernick, perhaps our brother George Floyd would be here. If the NFL had made a push to eliminate police brutality and gotten everyone on board, perhaps we wouldn't be here today. When we see the injustices that we face as a people, and we see that it's not being let up from Eleanor Bumpus to you could go on and on and on, all the injustices. Eleanor Bumpus here in New York. Anthony Byers, who was choked out by a police officer in 1994 for playing football with his brothers, and the football accidentally hit the patrol car, and that man lost his life in front of his brothers. Amadou Diallo, Abner Louima, Eric Gardner, Sean Bell, Trayvon Martin, all of the people that goes on, Sandra Bland, Tamir Rice, Philando Castile, Walter Scott. I mean, these are names that we could just keep going and going and going and going. And we got video. Rodney King got beaten savagely. So these are all the things that we have to think about through the years that we've been protesting, that we've been outraged. And when it goes back to normalcy, then they go back to normalcy, which is taking our lives. So we have to change that narrative. And the way that we change that narrative is by creating our own businesses, buy black, buy with your own people. When you have exhausted all options to buy with your own, then you could go to them. Because I'm not telling you not to live or not to survive, but what I am saying is that we have to begin to make that change. Stop going to these people that don't support you, that didn't go out there and hold a sign with you, but you give them all the money for the nails, for your manicure and pedicures. Find some black nail salons. They might charge a little bit more, but you spend a extra $7 on foolishness every day. You get what I'm saying? That's the way that we're going to begin to fight back, and we're going to begin to grow by searching out these businesses online, these black-owned businesses, and we begin to grow our socioeconomic power. We begin to build it, and then we become owners, and we can hire our own, and we don't have to worry about institutionalized racism, because now we become the institution. Our forefathers never looked for a handout, even as they were crop shares and doing all types of things like that. They worked and broke their backs until they were able to buy enough money to buy their own land. Stop depending on those that have not shown to be any different all over the 400 years that we've been here and these Americas. And I'm talking about all of the Americas. I know we're in the North American captivity right now, but all of the Americas. We, as black people, our struggle is always harder, it's double. So if we're going to struggle harder and double, and we're going to put in the work, let's put in the work for ourselves. Let's look out for our own people. Let's do the things that we need to do to grow as a community, as a society. First thing that you do, go online. We have Google. Look for black businesses. Look for businesses that you could support. Painters, carpenters, whatever it may be. Look for the black-owned businesses. Your car gets into an accident, and the tow truck come. Find a black one. Find a tow truck company or a garage that's going to fix your car that's black owned. And this is not being racist. This is time for us to get smart. The Chinese keep their money in Chinatown. They take it from us when we go to the Chinese restaurant, and it doesn't come out of their community for 10 times before it goes around. That's the way you grow wealth. That's the way you grow a base and a family. We have to begin to depend on each other. Because after the protests are done, what are we going to do? This is the question that we have to ask ourselves. When the protests are done, when they're done throwing rocks, and when we're done fighting and arguing and doing all of those things, and I'm not knocking protests. Protests are needed. Understand what I'm saying? What I'm trying to tell you is, what are we going to do when the protests are done? That's all. When the protests are done, what are we going to do? That's what we have to concentrate on. Those are the ducks that we have to line up. We need to come forward with solidarity, like he said, our black solidarity, to come together like our ancestors or our forefathers did in the 50s, I believe, when they picketed the bus lines because they would not allow black people to sit in the front. They made them go to the back. And that was the whole Rosa Parks movement that sparked that whole thing, to where we almost bankrupted the transit system. I believe it was in Alabama, if I'm not mistaken, but you could correct me. That's what we have to begin to do. Come together, solidarity, and understand our economic power, and stop thinking that we can't control the narrative. We can control the narrative, and we need to begin to control the narrative, because we are people that could do it. Now we know why Kaepernick now, for this exact reason, for police brutality, for all of the things that we suffer as a people, particularly black men who die at the hands of police officers unarmed. So thank you. I'd like to thank all of you for tuning in. I'm not going to be long. I just needed to get that off my chest, and hopefully I'll be bringing more videos like this. Today was George Floyd's first funeral service. I believe the next one is going to be in Texas. They're going to take his body to Texas, and his hometown where he was born. So we send out our love and support to the Floyd family, from Congregation Bay d.c.b, from the Israelite community. I think I could speak for us. We send out our love and support to the Floyd family, but we need to find out what we need to do in order to get things going as a people, and to understand where we're going to move forward towards. There will be a united statement by Israelites that's going to be put forward, to show that we stand, and where we stand, and all of the things that we need to do in order to be together as a people, and to also show people that on this we stand united. So when that statement comes out, the person who's designated to read it will read it, and there will be a statement put out for everyone to see that us as Israelites, we care, and that we're always there for our people, and we love our people, and we're always going to speak out against injustice. So thanking y'all for giving me an air. I just needed to get that off my chest. I needed to speak to my people to let them know that we need to begin to take steps in order to aid our growth, and for us to become economically independent. It's one of the main things that we have to do now when the smoke clears. So shalom, shalom, family. May the Most High God bless each and every one of you. And I will be seeing you hopefully tomorrow evening. Shalom, shalom.